Unfiltered. Ricky Bo.
Are you kidding me?
Bill Colarulo.
What were you watching?
Bold, energetic, passionate.
What are you talking about?
Philadelphia sports talk that doesn't ask for forgiveness.
You say you're sorry now and everything's great?
97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
An offensive explosion at Citizens Bank Park last night. You watched your Philadelphia Phillies dominate the Baltimore Orioles 13-3 behind 6 home runs, 2 of them by our MVP, Kyle Schwarber. One of them was a grand slam. He drives in 6 runs last night. And it's time, Ricky Bo, that we start to talk about Kyle Schwarber as the most valuable player in the National League.
Yeah, I thought the word was starting to kick in about 2 or 3 days ago. I mean, this is a guy, when you look at his offensive numbers, I mean, there's not many people up there with him. And I guess the guys that you would put up there with him would be Shohei and Aaron Judge right now. And when you think about Kyle Schwarber, and I keep saying this, back in 2008, 9, 10, there was a must-watch at-bat. And that must-watch at-bat was Ryan Howard every time because you never knew when he was going to drop a 450-foot bomb on you. And right now, Kyle Schwarber, you cannot miss these at-bats. And it seems like the higher the pressure situation, the bigger he comes up. I mean, he's on pace for close to 125 to 130 RBIs. And he's on pace to possibly tie or break Ryan Howard's team record. So, you know what? Any way you want to slice it, I know he's a designated hitter. I just don't care anymore because, quite frankly, they don't give errors anymore in Major League Baseball. So I guess defense doesn't mean anything to the league. So why should I take that into consideration?
I knew you were going to get that in there about defense, man. You hate the way they score in Major League Baseball.
Because I think they're making fools of a fan base.
Yeah, you're right. They are a little bit. But what you just hit the nail on the head, though, when you were talking about who else could be up there with Kyle Schwarber. And I was looking at the updated odds this morning. I think yesterday Schwarber was like a plus 650.
He's 600 now.
Check again, my friend.
It went to 400.
Plus 390 on FanDuel now. So he is getting closer. Ohtani is still a minus 430. But when you talk about the numbers, and I get that Ohtani is also a pitcher, but he hasn't pitched that much this season.
No.
So you can't really factor that in right now. And you look at the numbers, you could make the argument that Kyle Schwarber is having a better season. Schwarber's got more home runs. He's got 21 more RBIs than Shohei Ohtani does. He actually has a higher on-base percentage. So when you look at these numbers, yeah, I know that there's some in favor of Shohei Ohtani. He's got a higher WAR, the wins above replacement that a lot of people love. He's got more hits, talking about Shohei Ohtani. Yep. But it's pretty damn close. And what I look at, when you really look at the definition, most valuable player, has there been a more valuable player to the Philadelphia Phillies than Kyle Schwarber has been this season? Both teams are sitting in first place. You look at the Phillies, you look at the Dodgers. Phillies are 64-48. The Dodgers are 65-48. Almost identical records. But here's why I say Schwarber has been more valuable. He has 94 RBIs. There's only one person on the Phillies besides Kyle Schwarber that even has more than 50 RBIs, and that's Castellanos with 60. Look at the Dodgers. They got 5 other players with more than 50 RBIs. In fact, they got 3 others who have more than 60 RBIs. So when you talk about most valuable, Kyle Schwarber has been more valuable to the Phillies this season than Shohei Ohtani has been to the Dodgers. I think the argument could be made that Kyle Schwarber should legitimately win the National League MVP.
I think he's got a very good chance. And I wouldn't have said this in years past. I just don't think that DH title is what it used to be. I think if you look at and you compare as to how important he is to his ball club, you take Kyle Schwarber out of there and his 94 RBIs and his 30 whatever or 40 home runs, yeah, you're taking away half their offense. Half of their offense. Think about it for a second. It's and I'm not saying that like as a joke. I know I'm kind of being a little facetious with it, but I look at it like this. If this is a guy that could come up big like he does right now, He is the guy leading this team, nobody else.
Yep, and Rob Thompson last night after the game was asked about Kyle Schwarber and all the things he does. Listen to Rob Thompson.
No, it was incredible. He's had a great year. He really has. And, the home runs, the RBIs, the big hits that he's had for us, the on base, it's just, he's had a great year.
Simple as that, Ricky.
True.
He's had a great year.
It's true. I mean, Rob Thompson, you know what? He didn't even show any emotion last night, which was weird. I'm wondering if he's thinking, well, we should have done exactly that to that team. I wonder if he was thinking that because he was very kind of calm and just to the point last night. I think he just looks at Schwarber as one of those guys where this is what he almost expects from him now instead of like, oh, yeah, this is a guy that came up big finally. No, it hasn't been like that. He's having the same conversation pretty much 20 times a year about Kyle Schwarber and what he does for this ball club. But it's not just on the field. I mean, the other thing that you have to understand is that he's really, really good in the clubhouse. And that is something. That does count for something. And I know it doesn't count for MVP, but he is a leader on this ball club. And I think that to me is something that the fan base should know and the fan base should understand is that he is a leader in the clubhouse, and he just shows on the field how good he actually is.
And that's why it is frustrating that they couldn't get a deal done before the season because the price tag now has skyrocketed for Kyle Schwarber.
Gracious. I can't even imagine.
And we know, hearing from Kyle Schwarber a couple weeks ago, from John Middleton and Dave Dombrowski a couple weeks ago, they did talk about a new contract before the season started, but they were too far apart in terms of what Schwarber would have accepted. And I believe he's represented by Boris, right? This is a Scott Boris guy?
Yes.
So the problem was there was a number that Schwarber and Boris had in mind, and there's no doubt that whatever that number was, it's now gone up exponentially. Like, you could have, I'm sure the Phillies didn't want to pay the number that they were asking for before the season started. There's no way that number is even going to get it done this coming offseason now.
No.
Because this guy is having a record year.
This number might be absolutely sick. I mean, when it really comes down to it. I think, you know what, right now he's in his prime. And I think a lot of people would say, well, in your 30s, you're not in your prime. No, this guy is there. Yeah, I mean, you look at his numbers the last 4 years, they've been absolutely ridiculous. 170-plus home runs with the Phillies now, and he still has, in his 4 years, he still has a month and a half left.
And you mentioned it earlier, talking about Ryan Howard. Like, he's on pace to potentially have the most home runs in a single season in franchise history if he can hit more than 58 home runs. He's got to do 19 more. And he's got how many more games to go? What's
49 or 50? 50
what's 64 plus 48? Let me get out my
58.
calculator. Hold on, I got Ray Dunn on the other side of the glass, Mr. SAT over there.
What did you just say, Ricky?
58?
No.
I mean 48.
There's 50 games left.
That's what I said the first time he said no.
So he's got to hit 19 home runs in the next 50 games, and he will go down as the franchise single season home run leader. You can't let that guy walk.
No.
You can't let him hit free agency the year after he sets the franchise record. Like, they are going to have to back up the truck and give the guy whatever he wants. And it's a shame that they didn't get it done in the offseason. But look, we'll worry about that when the time comes. What we're focused on right now is what he did last night and what he's done to date. And we're throwing out the question, should Kyle Schwarber be legitimately considered for most valuable player in the National League? And I'm trying to take off the Phillies colored glasses. Like, looking at it objectively, the only guy in front of him in terms of odds is Shohei Ohtani. And when you put their numbers up against each other, you could argue that Schwarber is having a better season than Shohei Ohtani,
yes,
depending on what stat you look at. And